All right, hey, I just wanted to check in because I finished another book. It is Wolves of the Calla by Stephen King. Now, this is the fifth book in the Dark Tower series, and I actually listened to this entire book. This was the book I chose to listen to while driving back to Idaho from Georgia. So I wanted a audiobook that I could sink into, and this was the one I chose. With that being said, since I was not as in the pages of this book, that could affect my review a little bit, and I just wanted to put that out up front that my opinion might be a little skewed on this book, especially because I do feel very mixed about this one. So keep that in mind during this review. It might be this might be a more of an unfair review. I don't know. So I want to just jump right into this. I'm going to try to keep this spoiler free for the most part. This book opens up with a group of people in a place called the Calla, or there's a longer name, but it's the Calla. And every 20-something years, I can't remember exactly, I think it's about 20-something years, 20-ish years, these wolves come and take half the children away. And these children come back months later or whatever, and they are ruined. That's one of the issues with listening to this. I'm not 100% sure what the word actually was. It sounded like he was saying ruined. But they're essentially messed up. Like, they're like mentally not all there anymore. They're physically a little bit different, and they die younger. So these kids are just kind of messed up. And these group of people hear of a gunslinger, Roland and gang, and they want the gunslinger to come and help them and help figure out how to get rid of these wolves. So now if we go back to what Roland and Susanna and Eddie and Jake are up to, Eddie and Jake ended up doing something called toe dashing. It was on accident that they did it this first time, I believe, if I'm remembering this right. This is another issue with the audiobook. For some reason, I'm having a little bit harder time remembering some of the stuff that went on in this book, so I apologize for that. But I'm pretty sure that they go toe dash before they meet a certain character that I'll talk about. And they end up in the olden New York, where they see Jake going in and buying the Charlie, the Choo Choo book from the Wastelands, and they see Mr. Tower. I can't remember his first name either. Damn, I apologize about this. This is gonna be maybe not a great review. But they do, so they're like essentially a ghostly specter among them. They're not being interacted with. Nobody can see them, nobody can hear them or whatever. But they see this situation go down after old Jake leaves. And Tower is approached by a couple guys that are clearly not good people. And Eddie and Jake want to try to help him out, but they can't help him in their current situation. They need money and all this stuff. So they end up getting back out into the real world. And that's when we see a new character, Father Callahan from Salem's Lot, which is really, really cool. I love the introduction of Father Callahan. What I don't like about Father Callahan is the amount of backstory we get on him. It ran a little long, in my opinion. There's a lot of that issue in this book for me. This book is very long. It's 700 and something pages. 713 pages or something like that. But a lot of this book could have been shortened, in my opinion. It felt like things just went on way too long. Father Callahan's story being one of those. He has kind of a backstory. He briefly explains some of Salem's Lot, but then it's a lot of what happens after, and him being able to sense vampires and going back in time into New York and stuff, being able to go toe dash, meeting Walter, the Man in Black. He has a lot of really cool moments and a lot of cool things happen to Father Callahan, but it is told over this long period of time throughout the book, and it is very almost long-winded. Father Callahan had eventually, when he met the Man in Black, he was given Black 13, which is one of the Merlin's rainbow pieces, and it transports him to Calla. So he's no longer in his real world, he's in Calla now, and he kind of just decides to settle down and make his life there. Well, he's the one that goes and finds the gunslingers and is trying to help not let the wolves take the kids. So that's what he convinces Roland by saying, I'll give you Black 13 if you help. And they say okay, and they travel to the Calla. This is where my other issue with the book comes in. They're at the Calla for so long. Like, they enter like here, and I shit you not, nothing super eventful happens in the Calla until like here. It is a lot of them just kind of sitting around, telling stories, backstories. It's a lot of that throughout this book, which is okay, but sorry, my mustache keeps getting in my mouth, which is okay, but the last book was a huge backstory on Roland. So I was just really wanting the overall story to be moving forward more, and it wasn't moving as fast as I was hoping for. Again, this might be because I was on the road the whole time listening to the audiobook. It might be a slightly different experience. I might have missed some stuff. I feel like I probably missed some things in this book. But I know that I got the overall plot. So Roland convinces the town to fight with him, to fight the Calla off. And the Calla are actually really cool. They're right here. They have these literal lightsabers from Star Wars. They say Star Wars like lightsabers, and snitches, which I think they call sneeches from Harry Potter, that are a little bit different. They can like throw them and like explode people. They're crazy. That stuff's really cool, and the premise of this whole book is really, really cool. I loved the overall plot and the progression that it made towards the overall story. Like I said, it just went on very long, in my opinion, and I just wasn't sure how I felt about that. Now, there's also this little subplot with Susanna. Susanna has developed a new personality to essentially protect her demon child that she's growing inside of her, and this personality is named Mia. Here's another issue that I kind of had with the book. I never like when main characters, or characters at all in stories, are keeping stuff back from each other for like almost an unnecessary tension. And that's what happens throughout a lot of this book. A lot of the tension comes from Roland finds out that Susanna has this other personality. Susanna doesn't know she's having it because she is like blacking out essentially and letting Mia take over. And the whole quartet finds out about it, and Roland doesn't want anybody to tell, essentially. He want everybody keep your secret, let this work out itself out. And it causes a weird dynamic between the group, and the quartet is kind of breaking up, and everything is kind of falling apart almost for a little while. And we do end on an eventful note to set up the next book, but a lot of it could have been avoided. It's very strange. I like the overall story, I like the overall book, but it went on a little long, in my opinion. And like I said, my opinion on this book in particular may be very skewed because of the way that I consumed it, and I recognize that, and I know that this my opinion is definitely not a popular one. I think that the overall opinion online is that this is a very good book. I do think it's a good book. It felt longer than it needed to. I almost feel that as the Dark Tower series has gone on, the books have gotten a little more long-winded. I don't know if that continues into books 6 and 7, but 1 was the perfect length for the story it needed to tell. 2 was the perfect length. 3 was the perfect length to an extent. It got a little long. 4 went on a little long, and then this one went on a little long. But I don't know. And this review is probably going on a little long, so who am I to complain? But I don't know. It was all right. It definitely is keeping me interested. I'm definitely still continuing the series, and I'm probably gonna go pick up the 6th book today. Actually, I'm planning on going to Barnes and Noble later today. I'm just a little not disappointed, conflicted about this book. I think it deserves a reread from me, and I might give it a at least reread some of the major parts, just to really solidify some of my ideas. But that's kind of where I stand right now on this book. It was all right. It wasn't anything super special in my opinion, but what can I say? I think this is my least favorite of the Dark Tower books so far. I think my order, in case you were wondering, goes book 3, The Wastelands, and then book 1, and then book 4 to 5 is my order right now. Don't know if that's a popular opinion, don't know if that's a super unpopular opinion, but that's where I'm standing right now. Anyways, I appreciate y'all for sticking around, and thanks.